Welcome to Team 9 company presentation focused on Chevron, where their motto is energy is at the heart of everything we do. Chevron began as the Pacific Oil Company on September 10, 1879 in San Francisco, California, and has grown to be an energy corporation with extensive worldwide operations in more than 30 countries. Not only do they do business in the US, Canada, the UK, and China, they also operate in many other countries around the globe, from Argentina, Brazil, and Venezuela in South America, to South Africa and Nigeria in Africa, to South Korea and Singapore in the Far East, and of course to Saudi Arabia and Kuwait in the Middle East as well. The company's slogan is "Energy is the heart of everything we do," and their vision is to be the global energy company most admired for its people and partnerships and performance. The company's desired corporate and employee approach is referred to as the Chevron way. You can see from the 5 bullet points that safety and people are a commitment, as well as becoming the partner of choice and admiration amongst all their stakeholders, and ultimately to deliver world-class performance to all. According to their 2015 financials, Chevron's sales and other operating revenues totaled $129.9 billion, and net income attributable to the corporation was somewhere near $4.5 million. Return to stockholders' equity was 3%. All three were down substantially from 2014 numbers, though. Chevron segments its operations into what they refer to as areas of expertise. These areas include exploration and production, refining, transportation, supply and trading, products and services, Chevron lubricants, chemicals and additives, power. Operations include exploring for, producing and refining crude oil, exploring for production of natural gas, producing geothermal energy, manufacturing and marketing petrochemicals and additives, and marketing fuels and lubricants, to name a few. Generally, these types of operations fall into the broad industrial category of oil and natural gas. As of 2014, OPEC and non-OPEC countries produced approximately 77.5 million barrels of oil per day. Oil is the world's number one export product. As you can see in the column on the left, Saudi Arabia tops the list of the exporting countries at 17% of the total of all crude exported in 2015. Note that the U.S. is not on the top list of top exporters. Our country did export about 106.1 billion of oil in 2015, but that only is about 7% of the total of all U.S. exports. The column on the right list includes the top crude oil exporting companies in the world. The order shown is based on 2015 Forbes ranking. All of these companies are in the top 100 of the world's largest companies. This is a visual representation of the worldwide petroleum and other liquid production in 2015. The darker color, the more barrels per day produced. The U.S. led all countries at 15.1 million barrels per day. That is about 3 billion per day more than the second leading producer, Saudi Arabia. The top 20 producing countries are listed on the left from the highest to the lowest production. Petroleum and petroleum products are used around the globe. Oil and gas are used to supply 60% of the energy needs of 7 billion people worldwide. Additionally, when converted to fuels, these products are used for heating and cooling, cooking, heating water, generating electricity, to powering cars, buses, ships, and trains and planes. Petroleum products are used also to manufacture petrochemicals feedstocks. These feedstocks are the raw materials that are used to manufacture some of the productions that you see in this photo. There are a number of issues facing the petroleum industry. Most obvious is the current low price per barrel. These prices are due primarily to declining demand and excess supply. Demand is down in part as the result of slow growth in the emerging economies of the BRIC countries. Geopolitical tensions continue to issue for the sector, including foreign and domestic regulatory constraints, political unrest, corruption, and environmental activism. Additionally, there are ongoing regulatory challenges facing fracking and pipelines and increased scrutiny of some of the very prominent recent incidents like Deepwater Horizon. There are also internal challenges due to shortage of talent, social and behavioral changes associated with employing millennials, the growth of digital and social media, and being more environmentally responsible. And it is no surprise that the companies in this sector must deal with the capital constraints associated with low per barrel prices. So far, the industry is optimistic about the impact that Donald Trump's presidential election victory will have on the industry, particularly in the U.S. During his campaign, he espoused support for fossil fuel production and loosening the EPA restrictions. An issue of concern is with regarding cybersecurity, considering the recent hacking of some very large companies and even the federal government. Security of sensitive data is very important. The oil and gas industry cannot ignore the possibility of being a cyber target. Possible threats range from industrial espionage to ransomware. Environmental issues are significant in the business sector. Just this October, the EPA finalized guidelines triggering Clean Air Act requirements for states to address the oil and gas industry's contribution to ozone smog. And fracking has been a sore spot for many, especially the environmentalists. States continue to address the issue on their own with ballot measures, making navigating the issue even more complicated. In the last election, Colorado voters passed a measure making it nearly impossible to ban fracking, while voters in Monterey County, California, passed a measure to ban fracking. Even industry-friendly states like Oklahoma have ordered closure of disposal wells used in fracking operations due to concern that these wells are linked to recent earthquake activity in the state. Probably the most important future concern for the industry is the low oil prices. Many think prices are cyclical and they will likely rebound with the general business cycle. Whether that is true or not is incumbent upon the oil and gas companies to find other ways to generate revenue or reduce expenses. Chevron is a global company and as such has chartered leadership structure to enhance communication and effectiveness. Chevron operates on a decentralized organizational structure with multiple business units and operating entities, which allows the company to quickly evaluate and test new approaches to businesses in those segments. This allows real-time change for lean systems and expedited communication. There is a global presence in a vast array of energy harvest, fields such as heavy oil, deep water, natural gas, liquid natural gas, oil, and shale/tight resources. Broad-based solutions are encompassed by the various areas of expertise and further. Examples include, but not limited to, lubricants, fuel additives, auto service shops, personal credit card services, and business card services. All of these services or business solutions retain the brand backing of Chevron and its synergy and economies of scale. Moreover, this also enhances the brand recognition and customer intimacy. Chevron also partners with small businesses in non-traditional diverse segments. The supplier diversity and small business program is dedicated to developing and promoting successful partnerships through innovation, cost-effective solutions, and fuel mutual growth of our companies and suppliers. Such strategies include competitive sourcing, provisions for training and education, as well as tracking and continuous improvement. One example of sustainability and social responsibility is the shipping segment of Chevron. In addition to providing marine transportation for the company, Chevron Shipping also provides technical, commercial, and operational support to projects such as the Papa-Terra field offshore Brazil and the Gorgon and Wheatstone liquid natural gas developments offshore Western Australia. Through these programs, efficiency and synergy are achieved through processing and transportation of information as well as the greater capacity. Partnered with Raytheon and EDS, Chevron helped charter UpstreamInfo.com, an independent company-hosted an e-business portal and application service provider for oil and gas-based companies. This B2B portal will enable petroleum companies to reduce costs and have access to massive amounts of technical and business information and associated applications that support their operations worldwide. Chevron realizes that B2B e-commerce will change the face of business. Other benefits include increased efficiency by eliminating redundant information within and across multiple organizations, reduces the cost of information owner and consumer, improves productivity through flexible on-demand access to information, increases productivity by providing by providing one information repository from which to find and acquire quality information. Speeds collaborative decision-making across organizational boundaries, and cuts intra- and intercompany transaction time through online markets. Another example of this retailer's market exchange, a partnership between McLean and Oracle, where there is an unparalleled commerce community between supplier companies, retailer chains, and individual retailers. Benefits include the infrastructure for deployment of retail and product brand information and programs, customer services to enable the transformation of new, more efficient businesses, business operating systems that enable the full use of the website and integrate the retailer's on-site operations with those suppliers, and a dynamic interactive online community network where retailers and suppliers can share information. The driver behind Chevron's business strategy is their vision, which is summarized to be the global energy company most admired for its people, partnership, and performance. While this vision is quite vague, it is Chevron's intent to make the vision real by being true to following desires: safely provide energy products which they deem vital to economic progress and human development, to become a company with superior capabilities and commitment, and become the partner of choice, driving performance that is in line with what the wants and needs of their stakeholders. All of this must be done while also delivering world-class performance and outcomes. Like most companies, their vision can ultimately be tied to the underlying values, which are then used to drive the overarching strategy of the organization. That being said, Chevron's values are ones that begin with the level of integrity they wish to have as a company. The rest of their values can be summarized as trust, diversity, ingenuity, partnership, protecting people and the environment, and doing so at the level of high performance. In a time when more and more people are looking for clean options, it is of the utmost importance that Chevron behaves as a company with deep integrity. More than ever before, business is being seen more as an ecosystem and less as a battleground. It is Chevron's intent to embrace that view and become a company that others want to partner with in becoming a change leader throughout their operational segment and ultimately the world. Strategically, Chevron believes it is their internal vision and values and ultimately create the elements which give them an edge over their competition. Chevron identifies these strategies in two separate categories: enterprise strategies and major business strategies. Their enterprise strategy is that of most companies within the world today, to invest in people, execute with excellence, and grow profitably for their shareholders. However, more specific objectives are within their major business strategy. It is here that we see how exactly Chevron plans to build their business and become that change agent they wish to be. First of which is to continue to build their core business and not turn away from what has made them successful in the first place. The desire to grow value across their entire value chain is the profit generator that they require to execute on final aspects of their strategy. The aspects are to invest heavily into renewable, clean energy and energy alternatives, and develop new technologies, which will ensure their overall visions is successful for years to come. To summarize the overall business strategy, it is Chevron's objective to maintain their competitiveness in the areas that they have been successful in the past, become a change agent within the world of new/clean energy, and do so in a manner that is in line with their overarching vision and values. Issues and challenges facing Chevron. The biggest challenge Chevron faces is mass movement by the people for renewables due to climate change forcing the government to subsidize clean energy, which would ultimately destroy the oil and gas industry. Others have said that the low per price for the barrel of oil is also an issue, but many insiders believe that this will not continue into the future. In the past 100 years, global temperature change has increased 0.6 degrees Celsius and is projected to increase somewhere between 1 and 6 degrees Celsius over the next 100 years, changing the planet as we know it. People are beginning to feel the effects of climate change, especially in poor rural areas, and the government is compounding upon these, such as hurricanes, flooding, dying coral reefs, increase in the global temperature, increase in droughts, melting glaciers, increased sea levels, and colder temperatures across certain parts of the world. The financial effects of the climate change could be in the trillions. As people become more and more educated on the dangers of climate change and experience the effects of their daily lives, they will demand that the public and private sectors to subsidize and move towards renewable, clean energy. We've already seen this in cases such as Germany and Sweden, whose daily energy use comes from 30 to 100% renewables. Major nations such as China and India are also heavily investing in renewables due to public demand. The Chinese population is very concerned with toxic air that they breathe on a daily basis and having major public demonstrations demanding that their government move towards renewables. In the United States, we only have 5% of the world's population and are responsible for 22% of the world's carbon emissions. These carbon emissions will impact the U.S. directly, as rising ocean levels will completely flood out parts of the coastline, both at home and abroad, causing massive droughts in other areas such as California and Oklahoma, to name a few. Brand recognition is certainly high. Anyone who owns a car is familiar with Chevron gasoline, and stockholders are likely familiar with Chevron's endeavors. However, we were not aware of some of the company's initiatives to improve emissions and worker safety. For example, Chevron has alternative and renewable energy initiatives. In fact, they are the world's leading producer of geothermal energy, and they have developed projects using solar and wind technologies. Additionally, they have a significant OEM program that promotes two key principles: to do it safely or not at all, and there's always time to do it right. Two specific projects that are in regard are the use of unmanned aerial vehicles rather than people for data collection. The other is the use of robotics to perform tasks such as inspecting the floor of a storage tank when it still holds highly flammable, toxic petroleum product. With today's focus on corporate responsibility, it would be beneficial for Chevron to tout these types of initiatives before they have an incident where they need to do damage control, such as BP. Chevron can also continue to build on social responsibility. This not only includes efficiency and communication, but also the continual support of small businesses and segments. Chevron cannot ignore the smaller businesses who will also be influential players in the push for climate change. Continued communication is also key, as innovation ideas are always developed between the decentralized business units. They need to be passed along to realize synergy across the company and play upon the economies of scale. Finally, Chevron needs to determine how to get better ahead of the renewable energy curve, as they do not yet seem to be fully invested. With the change in global focus, this is more important than ever. And with that, we conclude our presentation on Chevron. Thank you for listening.